everybody. Welcome to Real Horror. Tonight we are discussing Hannibal Season 3, Episodes 5 and 6. Joining me, as always, for these streams is Vinny. How you doing, Vinny?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glorious. I'm fantastic. We're doing tremendous.
It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Um,
These episodes, pure fire. Especially, we discussed it before, but yeah, the end of episode 5. Woo! Epic.
Yeah.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. These are great episodes, but yeah, that one scene in particular, like I can't wait to dive into that one.
Yeah.
That was so satisfying.
Yep.
But first one in tonight was manliness and motivation. He says that he is going to see a working man at the theater, but left alike, and we appreciate that.
Very cool. I heard that's a good movie, by the way.
Yeah, hope you enjoy the movie. Let us know how it is.
Yeah, a friend of mine said that he saw it and was blown away by it.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Well, I'm sure it's got to be better than Snow White.
Oh, it kicked the shit out of Snow White.
I can't imagine anything being worse than that right now.
Yeah, well, we're doing Hannibal. I was going to pull up an image, but never mind.
So, yeah, all right. We'll just get right into episode 5, and we see Will and Chio are on they're riding a train heading to Italy, Florence, Italy.
Yep.
And they're talking about Hannibal and stuff like that, and like how Will asks about how like how they met and all that stuff, and we learn a little bit more about Chio here. And so we find out that she met him as an orphan, and she says that she was supposed to meet him and his sister Misha, but it was just him by himself. Mm-hmm. And of course, we know what happened to Misha prior to that.
Yeah.
And so she was sent over to America to be Hannibal's aunt's like attendant, or like understudy or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's how they met. And I'm pretty sure they the same age when they met.
Oh, that I don't know. Did they? I don't think they gave us an age on that.
No, I don't. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't think so. But it does explain why, because we had discussed how she looks a lot like Lady Murasaki, and kind of has like her skills and stuff like that. And this right here explains it, because she basically was, sent to live with Lady Murasaki, who is Hannibal's aunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a further explanation, a little bit of a backstory on Chio, and yeah, so that helped flesh her out a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which it was pretty good how they did it.
Yeah.
Because we were saying too, it's like it's not just like she's just this replacement character for.
Yeah.
It made sense to the story, so like I'm cool with how they did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they didn't mess with the continuity of Hannibal Rising at all. It's still intact. We just never met, Chio in the movie, but that's all right. They added a character. That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that explains her, and yeah, that was kind of cool. And yeah, they're talking about Hannibal and everything, and she actually says that she learned from Hannibal as well, because in Hannibal Rising we see him like his like swordsmanship, like kind of like samurai type stuff.
He learned from Lady Murasaku.
Yeah,
So it's so yeah, and so in this one saying she learned from him. So that
yeah,
that is interesting.
yeah. Like she learned. Like I'm taking that as like she learned some other stuff from him. Like
Uh-huh.
because like when we first meet her, she has that prisoner and everything,
Yeah. And she's
and
cooking.
yeah, yeah, that's true. The whole because he was hunting and field dressing animals,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So she probably learned that from him.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he says Will says that um, Hannibal comes under the guise of a mentor, but it's actually distress that excites him. And she says, "I'm not in distress." And Will says, "Well, not anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and he says, "You had a strict rule about taking a life, but you broke it." And he asks her if if that's like weighing on her mind, and she's like, "No, I." Like when she thinks of that, she sees Will. Like she blames Will for that,
Right.
which is fair.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, because the way that he comes into her life was they've all been manipulated by Hannibal. So like nothing's kind of done without a purpose.
Yeah,
So that's how she's seeing this too. That yeah, he's there and he was there to push her into doing that.
yeah,
How she's viewing it because of how Hannibal operates. So it all makes sense to the story, whether or not that was really what he was trying to do versus what she said. It still fits. You know, they could go
yeah,
either way, but it still makes sense
yep, absolutely.
because we know that he's got this weird attachment with them, and you know, we know what's going on. So what she's saying, there's truth behind it.
Yep. And and then we also find out during this conversation that Will, because she asks like, how do you know he's in Florence, and he shows her a postcard, and on the other side of it says where it's from, the Galleria degli Uffizi in Florence, Italy.
Mm-hmm.
um and so yeah, like so did Hannibal send him a postcard? Like, where did that postcard come from?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because they don't show any writing on it.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah, so he must have been sent. Look, yeah, he must have been sent that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, he did leave the note for Jack, which
Right.
wasn't mailed. So he could have left that postcard somewhere for Will to find.
He could have.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good question.
yeah. Kind of makes sense if he did it that way.
I know. I hate because there's some things sometimes we miss completely.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
Yeah.
many times like I know when I watch like Breaking Bad, I watch the thing I think 3 or 4 times, and every
Mhm.
time I catch something else.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
extra little details. That's what I like too, and stuff that we have seen, and then going back watching it years later, like with
Hmm.
kind of a different perspective since there's so much changed in the world and everything.
I know.
You know, it's
Yeah, that's so true.
it is very interesting. How many times we've seen that too? It's like there's a big star now, and we watched an older movie, like, oh, that's so and so. Oh my god, like I can't believe that, and it's
Yeah.
totally different.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. It's yeah, it's neat how that happens. And yeah, I love this has been a blast, obviously. And yeah, I love revisiting old shows like like you mentioned Breaking Bad, and I love rewatching old shows,
yeah.
and
Oh,
being
Dexter,
like,
same deal.
yeah, Dexter, same thing. Yeah, like you
You,
spot something you never
yeah,
noticed before, even though you could have watched the show many times over at that
mm-hmm.
point.
Yep.
It's yeah, it's a treat when that happens.
Yeah, and same thing too. Like those actors, like with Sam Witwer's over there, and like how they utilized him, like really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yep. And then when next we see Hannibal, and he's talking to Bedelia, and he's talking about how he kept Coglia Gardens, those snails with those round shells on them, as a young man, which we saw like that old fountain with all the snails on it.
Yep.
So yeah, that must be remnants of his garden. And he talks about fireflies here. He's like the firefly lava feed on those snails.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that the firefly lava use that to power the transformation into delicate creatures of such beauty. And as he's saying this, he feeds her a snail.
Yeah. Yeah,
I these
he has two of them like skewered, and yeah, he
Yeah.
feeds one to her, and then he eats one.
Yep.
And while they're doing this, didn't we get like, weren't they showing like the montage of the guy that Will strung up?
Yes, they show that firefly guy, which is it's hauntingly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
odd.
how they did it with the lighting them up and stuff too.
Yeah, because he has this like iridescent green on him, and you see like these like firefly lights like around him and stuff.
Yeah, because like we'll use like the broken bottles and the glass
Yep.
that's like in that basement in that cellar, so the kind of dungeon thing, and yeah, it's really interesting, really cool.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool.
Disturbing, but still cool.
Yeah. That's the it's kind of like that's the complexity of this is like there's beauty in this horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think about a lot of different stuff.
Yep. Um and and so they're talking about the fireflies and stuff like that, and how they live such brief lives. And Hannibal says it's better to live true to yourself, for just an instant, than to live a long life and never know your true self. And and she adds, not like Will Graham does.
Yeah.
And so then they just have a brief discussion about Will. And Bedelia says something about like the reciprocity of like friendship, forgiveness, stuff like that. And then she says Will is coming to kill you. And just like Hannibal is waiting there to kill Will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they're gonna converge.
Yep.
And next is kind of a sad.
She's baiting him though too. It's
Oh yeah,
you
she's
could
playing with him.
yeah, the two of them. You could see whatever this arrangement is. It's very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
They both kind of respect it. They both know what's coming with it.
Yep. And don't you, when you're watching, don't you kind of feel like they're both eerie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because she's trapped. She knows she can't do anything about her situation, so she's just going with it. But at the same time, he still enjoys this banter that they have.
Yep.
Like he's keeping her around as another toy, basically.
Yeah.
And she
absolutely.
knows it. So she's starting to toy with him now because it's like she doesn't even care.
I know. Yeah. It's funny to see all this play out. And it like her acting as
it is so top notch.
Yeah, it really is. It's so all the acting in this whole series is so convincing.
Because I liked her on X-Files, but that character was like a piece of cardboard compared to what she's doing here.
I know. It's funny to see. It's such a different character.
Yeah, and it's just she's showing her acting chops like I've never seen before, and that's what I really appreciate with it, because you didn't normally see that, and she's still playing it so low key. There's a brilliance to that performance. It really is.
For sure. Yeah, it's awesome. Like on the horror stream last night, we were talking about how there are some actors that just have absolutely no range, and you know what kind of movie it's going to be if you see
Hmm.
them in the movie, like The Rock,
Yeah.
especially The Rock. He
Yeah. The
he
Rock,
is,
Kevin Hart.
and Jason Statham is another one. Like
Yeah.
he's awesome with action. Like I'm not going to take that away from him,
Yep.
but you know exactly what kind of movie you're going to watch if he's in it.
Right.
Like there are some actors that just have zero range, but yeah, I think the worst offender is Rock because
Yep.
yeah, like his no like the line delivery is awful, and
Hmm.
anyway, it's a stark contrast to Gillian Anderson in this series
Yeah.
because she, like, you can see,
I hope she won awards for this or something because, like I
yeah,
said, she's not someone where I go, oh yeah, think of a really powerful actress who could really like
yeah,
hold her own. She's not someone that came to mind until
yeah.
watching this again, and it's like, holy shit, this is better than most of the ones that they've given awards to.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right. That's true. I we should, yeah, we'll have to look into that because yeah, she
Yeah.
definitely deserved an award for this because a lot of times if you see an actor from a previous series, you'll think, okay, they're going to be this kind of character,
Hmm.
and that is she is nothing like Scully in this series.
Oh no, not at all. She almost has like that um that old movie star kind of that starlet kind of thing about her.
Yeah.
Like classic old Hollywood. The ones who really had those chops, those acting chops.
Yep.
But
Yep.
without being over the top, because she has the beauty, the way they did her hair and stuff too, and her makeup. It looks like something out of like I don't know the 1940s or 50s kind of.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
The way that they styled her and everything is she's so elegant, and yeah, like definitely, yeah, it takes you back way back into like the golden era of Hollywood.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. um and yeah, timeless, yeah, absolutely. And hello, Adam, good to see you.
Hey Adam, what's
um
up, buddy?
Thank you for being here. And Adam says slay that like, and I agree.
Hell yeah.
uh, but And then okay, so then the next scene is pretty sad. We see Jack spreading Bedelia's ashes in whatever river that is in Florence. I don't Do you know what it is? That
Uh,
river?
which oh you shit. I
Yeah,
do not remember the name of it.
I know.
Had I been playing Assassin's Creed 2 again, I'd probably tell you in a heartbeat. But it's been
Yes.
uh yeah, because that's that famous bridge and like um yeah like the what do you call the big domes in the background and everything.
Yeah, and like you have the gondola rides in that and everything. That's
Yep.
the same place, isn't it? That's in
Uh,
Florence.
Arno River.
Okay, that
That's it.
I think that's where. Yeah, I think that's where this is, a bridge over that river, and he spreads, and it's fitting that he spreads her ashes there because that's where they met,
Yep.
and it seems like through the series that's
Oh,
where.
it's beautiful how they did that for him.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the whole way that they did it was that was really really. I loved it. It had such class to it.
and that was a really nice way to send off a character.
Yep.
You know,
Hmm.
yeah, that was awesome. And I was actually surprised he also throws his wedding band into the river as well.
The moment he did that,
Mhm.
it felt like that was it for him.
I
Like
know.
it feels like okay, so he's making his last stand. That's the first thing I saw, and he's like, okay, so he's not even holding on to that. I understand like he's letting go of his wife at this moment too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes sense, but if he's got no more connection to this world, and it's just like I'm gonna get Will, and I'm gonna stop this piece of shit of Hannibal. It's like okay, he's going all out.
Yep.
So
Yeah. It's yeah.
he said, I said,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. This is him just letting go. Like it's almost like a hint to the audience, like
Hmm.
this is also where Jack is gonna like
Yeah,
have
move
his
on.
resting place as well.
Yeah,
It's yeah, because like that was Bella was his whole life,
it
his whole
was. Yep,
world.
yep.
So yeah, that was definitely there was weight to that scene for sure.
Oh yeah, and I gotta give it to him as well. His Italian was really good.
Oh really?
Yeah, because he's got a couple lines in there, and yeah, he speaks it pretty well.
They must have had a really good language coach on set.
I think so. He's just one of those actors. Though he's like so classy anyway, so
Yep.
it makes sense. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he already knew a lot of it on his own. You know, from either traveling or he's
Yeah.
that type of guy. Like you get that vibe. He's got more class to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a yeah like one of those older actors like the like old school actors that we don't really see anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, there hasn't been one performance in this guy's whole career that I did not enjoy. Even if the movies like he's been in, they might not have been the best. His
Mm-hmm.
performances are always really great. And I don't just mean like him in what was it, Death Wish, where he's one of the thugs who with the boombox. I don't mean that. I'm talking about like every other role that this guy's in. When he comes on screen, he brings such a gravity to it.
Yeah.
Even like that bad Predators movie. Like when he showed up in it, it's like a surprise, and then at the same time, it's like it makes sense. And he plays crazy so well.
Yeah.
Everything that this guy does, it's like yeah, I've enjoyed the shit out of him. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely throws himself into the work.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Gotta
Yeah,
gotta appreciate him for that.
yeah, and there's no difference here. Like I said, everything he's doing in this performance, these scenes are very powerful. The kind of beauty of it as well, with how he says goodbye to his wife, and you know,
Mm.
and and he's really content with it as well, because like we see him then with Potsy
Hmm.
and Potsy's wife, and the wife is like, "Oh, I noticed. Oh, you took your wedding ring off. Oh,
Yeah.
you recently divorced? No, widowed." But he's like the way he says it, like he's still like he's okay. Like it,
Yeah.
it's not weighing on him.
Yep. I noticed that too. Like he's moving on from it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's really good and solid, especially compared to like what he's done in the previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he gets fixated on certain things, but the way
Yeah.
he's doing it here, it's like yeah, no, like I know what I'm here for. I know my goal, and you know
Yep.
we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Pretty
And
awesome.
yeah, during that discussion, as you mentioned, he's having dinner with Inspector Podsy and his wife, and they he actually asks Podsy why he hasn't informed the questura of his uh investigation into Hannibal.
Right.
We know he's Hannibal, but he's going by Dr. Fell
Yeah.
at this point. And because of Patsy's fall from grace back when he tried to get Hannibal a long time ago,
Yep.
um,
El
he
monstro.
needs yeah yeah
And yeah, and the whole investigation. Yeah, for those if you're watching again, just a quick recap. When he first had Hannibal, basically when he was young, one of his first kills, he did it in an artistic way. He replicated, was it Bertoli or
Botticelli.
Botticelli, one of his paintings,
Yep.
um, how he posed the bodies, and Potsy knew who it was, and he went after him, but he had gotten away, and they put the blame on another criminal who had nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So all the police force, they basically like they mocked him, and they made him feel like a piece of shit, even though he was right. Maybe some of them knew he was right, but it didn't matter because they had to make sure everyone knew the monster, Il Mostro, was off the streets.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like at that point the Italian public, they needed someone to, um, you know, basically hang for these crimes, and so yeah, they were contented with this guy going to prison, and it's also convenient because Hannibal disappeared from that region after that.
Yep.
So it was like a perfect alibi,
Yep.
perfect like getaway plan.
Yep. Because that's how he does it. He knows when they're on to him, he'll put the blame on somebody else, and then he'll vanish.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. But Jack warns him. He's like, going outside the law to pursue Hannibal is also how, Jack fell from grace because,
Hmm.
he no longer works at the FBI. And they mentioned he's just a footnote in his own museum, the Evil Minds Museum.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a huge fall from grace too.
Was
And
was that Alana who said that?
um, I can't remember who said that.
I think she did. She was talking to the dude in the wheelchair, Mason,
Yeah,
because he had mentioned something
that
about
seems
that. Oh,
familiar.
Jack Crawford, and he was, well, Jack's just a footnote in his own. Yeah, yeah, that
That's
was her. That
that's
was her.
right. That's when he asked why aren't you going to Jack about this, or
Yeah,
going to the FBI about this,
right.
or Jack or the
Yeah,
FBI head.
they're doing a great job of making you really hate Alana.
I know.
Yeah, like since she got infected basically by Hannibal, she's just like her true colors are out and they're terrible.
Yeah, yeah. Her character arc is, ooh, I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah, she's circling the drain.
Yeah, yeah. She's in spiral mode. I
Hmm.
mean, she wants. I can understand it. She wants to get Hannibal. Like she may
Yeah,
be her and Mason may be the only, and Jack, actually, let's be fair. Her,
mhm,
Mason, and Jack are really the three that really want to end Hannibal.
yep,
Will is the one who's kind of like you're really not sure what Will wants.
yeah. Well, we do get it in 6.
Yeah, yeah,
We do find out what his deal is, but
yeah.
you
We
know,
do, we do at that point.
yeah,
Yeah,
because he is poisoned by him, but at the same time, like it's kind of like the will they, won't they kind of thing of will is Will on his side or is he against them? Kind of.
yeah. They like to play that. The writers like to play that game with us.
Yep. Because we already know that. Yeah, we already know it's the Brian Fuller. He's all he's upset in his interviews and shit. Like he's upset at Will. Like
Yeah.
Will betrayed Hannibal, and it's like, what are you talking about? Hannibal's the piece of trash.
Yes. Yes.
He's the brilliant serial killer nut job.
Yes, the big shout out to Oz who gave us that tidbit of information
Mhm.
about that interview.
Yeah,
I love that.
that was excellent. By the
So
way, Hannibal, a lot of his character and stuff,
mhm.
it's based off of the one that they really do believe to be the killer in the Black Dahlia um, storyline, the whole
I
situation and what happened in history.
I did read about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because there's this brilliant scientist who was like he had a genius IQ of like 180 something,
Hmm.
and almost everything that he had done in his youth lines up to Hannibal Lecter. It's crazy. It's really crazy and really disturbing, the other stuff that he had done. His own son was investigating him when he became older. He wanted to clear his father's name and ended up finding out that his father is most likely, he's like 99.9% sure, is the guy.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, it's wild. We'll talk about more of that another time, but yeah, it really is something else, including that the guy was an artist and a musician on top of everything else.
Oh
And
my God. Yeah. Definitely. Then yeah, it lines up.
yeah, it's wild. My brother was telling me about it. He watched the whole documentary on it. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. If I find it, I'll probably watch it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Send that over.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Um, all right, and then so next we see Alana is with Mason, and yeah, like they're like figuring out like Hannibal's patterns, and she's like setting up this like she's setting like a dinner table thing, and she's got like I think she actually has Hannibal's dinnerware there because she's like remarking about it and where he got it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Amazing. Like, oh, he's got elegant taste.
yeah, his
How
voice
do
is.
you taste, Alana?
I love how they do his voice because of his nose being how he basically ate his own nose.
Yeah,
And so now his voice sounds nasally.
yeah, but
Like,
still kind of muffled too because
yeah,
he doesn't have proper lips and everything.
yes.
They tried to reconstruct them.
It's they fantastic job on like his voice sounds like it would come out of someone who looked like that.
Yeah,
It's great.
it really is. I know the makeup was a little more horrifying in the movie, but
Yeah.
it's very accurate though. I think it's still very on par with it.
Well, I think they kind of like um they kind of did a good job because they had him do reconstructive surgery on this series.
Yep.
Um so yeah, if the guy if Mason in the movie got that, he'd probably look a little better.
Yeah, I think in the movie they do talk about it though. They attempted to because like he went to town on himself, and
Yeah.
yeah, so they had to do skin grafts from other parts of him to at least you know cover up basically the bloody mess that would be exposed.
Yeah.
You know, like they needed to put skin over those open wounds basically. So that's
Yeah.
why it was like extra horrifying looking. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. That writer had some imagination when he came up with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that scene when that happened was amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because even this stuff, like this conversation, like Mason's being such a piece of shit to her still, and she's
Yep.
taking it because she knows like the only way to really make sure Hannibal's gonna suffer is like with this guy, with his money, what he's capable of doing, and you know they
Yep.
have their hands in globally. It's like he put a bounty on Hannibal,
Yep.
so it's
Yep.
yeah. So she's going along with it just because she wants to see Hannibal meet his demise. So
Mhm.
she's basically teaming up with the devil right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a necessity at this point
Hmm.
cuz he's got the money,
Yeah, because he keeps
and
making.
resources.
Yep, he keeps making these lewd jokes at her expense.
Yes. Yeah, so there okay, so yeah, that so she's like saying, talking about his fine taste and all this stuff and the wine and truffles and cuz she's got a few receipts
Hmm.
of a place that he went to in Florence and she says like every day for like the last several few months or whatever no, not every day, every week for the last few months a blonde has been making the same purchase and uh and and then we it shows Bedelia going into that shop and ordering the wine and stuff
Yeah, the
and
white wine, the truffle oil, and
y-
it was the mushrooms or something.
yeah, those mushroom things and as they're talking about his taste, Mason is like, oh, I bet he got a sweet taste or you must taste sweet, something like that. And she just stares at him and he goes, I bet you got a taste of him too. And he's like, and he's like being a pig and he's like, spitters are quitters and you don't strike me as a quitter. And it's like,
Hmm.
this dude needs to be punched in the face.
Yeah, or what's left of his face.
Yep. Yep. And you can see like she doesn't react to what he's saying, but you can
Yeah,
tell by the look on her face, like she just dead stares at him when he talks like
yeah.
this.
It's because yeah, being being a psychologist or whatever, or some kind of a therapist, like she
Yeah,
knows what he is, so
yeah,
she's just like letting him spew this shit.
yeah,
It doesn't mean anything to her.
yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's very dismissive, but he doesn't care. He's still getting off on making fun of her and trying to, because it's like, yeah, I bet Hannibal had a great taste of you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, ah, this fucking arrogant shit stain.
Yeah. Yeah. And then next we see Will and Chio. They're on the train, and it's nighttime, um, Will is up in his bunk, but he's not sleeping, and Chio lays down. She's like, "Are we obligated to talk?" And Will says no. And then and it is funny because then she starts talking,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so she starts talking. She's says it's strange, like, to talk so much to someone where for so long all she had was voice, like her own voice in like her head, and like the mutterings of the prisoner, but she didn't
Yeah.
have any conversation.
Right.
And yeah, it's funny because it was just like she how she asked, like, are we obligated to talk? It seemed like she would
Mhm.
rather not talk, and
Yeah.
then she starts initiating a conversation.
Yeah.
Just struck me as funny.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah.
And again, Will is so odd. He's acting extra bizarre towards her or with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but he doesn't do that with other characters.
Yeah. I noticed that them two have like this weird, like this chemistry, but it's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting how they're kind of playing it.
Yeah.
Since we know both of them have been completely manipulated by Hannibal, and they're both damaged, but yet, like, they're both trying to get to him.
Yeah. And she actually says, because he's like, he's comparing them, and he's like, we're left like basically as husks, like Hannibal left us as husks, and filled with something, just something else. And she interestingly says, well, not something else, because I'm not as malleable as you are.
Mm-hmm.
So she's sensing his weakness.
Yeah.
And she also says that she thinks that he likes um the like well the killing and all that stuff. Like she
Mm-hmm.
likes he likes the evil.
Mm-hmm.
um and yeah, and he says that Will and I afforded Hannibal and I afforded each other an experience that they wouldn't have had if they hadn't met, you know like knowing each other, because
Yeah.
Hannibal had never let anybody in before, and
Yep.
neither has Will.
It almost feels fake how he's responding to her.
It really seems odd. It's just a weird interaction.
Yeah, it's almost like he's trying, like he's putting on a show for her. Is the vibe that I'm kind of getting.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know if
very
that's just,
off.
yeah, if he's acting like that on purpose, or yes, yeah, and it doesn't feel odd in a good way. It's, it's yeah, it's like trying to piece it together, because then like there's something that's about to happen between the two of them
Yep.
that was kind of cements a little bit more of, well, she's being fake with him basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a two-way street. Like they're kind of
They're playing a game with each other.
yeah. Yeah. It's like it's almost like they're analogous to each other, because it's like she's the female version of Will, and he's the male version of Chio.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like similar circumstances,
Yeah.
how Hannibal has like affected their lives.
Yep.
And she does say something interesting. She says, you think you fear that if you don't kill him, you'll become him. And he says, yes. And so he's telling her, yeah, I'm going to kill Hannibal.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically.
but also that he's afraid of becoming like him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, strange.
Yep.
Um,
Because she
And
also resents him for, that she had to kill somebody.
yeah, because that wasn't, yeah, she wasn't going to be doing that. She was, I don't know if you call it like content with her situation, but it's kind of like, it was what it was. She decided she didn't want to kill him, so she would look after him forever until he died.
Yeah.
And she didn't want it to end that way. So yeah, she resents Will for that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her for thinking that Will kind of like, because she does a lot of comparisons between what he did and Hannibal, and
Mm-hmm.
there are parallels there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like she was manipulated into killing this prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I get where she's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Her kind of like, I don't like this dude.
Yeah.
All right, and then next we see Inspector Potsy pays Hannibal, well, Dr. Fell, we'll just call him Hannibal,
Mm-hmm.
and Bedelia a visit, and I'm sorry, no, he
No.
visits Hannibal at the
Museum.
the museum thing, yeah, and introduces himself and everything like that, and he asks if he asks Hannibal if he ever met his predecessor, and Hannibal says no, and but I read his manuscripts, and then when he looks up at Patsy, you can see the look on Patsy's face. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely him."
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that, and well, we know later on, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like in that moment, Hannibal realizes that he also realizes it's actually Hannibal and not this Dr. Fell dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he tells Hannibal that his predecessor, this was the original curator of the museum, that he left without like a note or anything like that, and Hannibal says, well, yeah, like the going gossip is that he eloped with some woman and her money and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Patsy asks, well, okay, then what's the going assumption for Professor Sagliato? And Hannibal, uh I'm sorry, he tells Hannibal, you're the last person to have seen him. And yeah, like he says that his like declining Hannibal's dinner visit was the last anyone ever heard from him.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously know what happened.
Yep.
And then yeah, and so Hannibal says, well, maybe it was about money, like maybe some kind of ransom or whatever, something like that. And Patsy goes, well, no, they both didn't have much money, so money is not a part of this.
Yeah, you wouldn't disappear if you have nothing in the bank account.
Yeah, and like no one would kidnap you or hold you ransom for
Mm-hmm.
if you've barely got
Exactly.
100,000 in the bank. Like
Right.
that's too risky.
Yep.
It's not enough payoff. So
Right.
yeah,
Trust me, I was
yeah,
gonna do something similar, but I'm like, where am I going? I don't have.
yeah. I mean, that's the one thing. Like I never have to worry about being kidnapped.
Oh shit.
And
What are you kidding? Everybody's like, oh, she's adorable. Let's keep her like a house cat.
oh my god. And yeah, and then Hannibal says, "Oh, Potsy." And he's like, from the Potsy family, and I guess like the Potsy family is
Yeah,
you
like
know,
the history that they break down is pretty good. That's a
yeah.
great scene.
Yes, this was interesting. So we find out that the Potsy family is notorious in Florence because um, his cousin Francesco attempted to assassinate someone named Lorenzo the Magnificent.
Hmm.
Is that a real person?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I actually forgot to look that up. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, he attempted to assassinate Lorenzo the Magnificent in the cathedral at mass back in 1478, and Patsy's like, yeah, the Patsy family, we were all brought low on that day.
Well, it was a failed plot by the members of the Pazzi family
Mm.
and their allies, including one of the popes, to overthrow the Medici family.
Oh, so
Uh,
this is real. This is actual
yeah,
history.
it's real history. Yeah,
Oh,
back in
cool.
Florence. Yeah, in 1478. So yeah, so yeah, this family wanted to overthrow the Medici family.
Oh, all right, all right. Well, that's pretty cool. So, who was Lorenzo the Magnificent?
That I don't know. I guess yeah, Lorenzo de Medici.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he
All
had a
right.
non-fatal injury. Yeah, in April 26th of 1478. We're coming up on the anniversary.
Oh my God. Yeah. Holy crap, we're almost there.
Got to play these numbers tomorrow. 1478.
Yeah.
Oh shit,
And
that's
then
hilarious.
is this where um okay, no. All right. So I thought this was where a certain scene happened, but okay, so right after that, he's like, well, if you find, if you hear anything about the missing men, please, let me know. And then as he's walking out, he grabs a book, and I think it's some kind of book about medieval torture, or like a flyer on medieval torture, and it would make sense because that's what that whole exhibit is.
Yeah, that was pretty cool looking too.
The only word I could get off the manual was tortura. So I figured that was torture. Like some kind of like
Oh
it,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, I don't believe I forgot about it. Assassin's Creed, since it all took place in that time as well, and you're working with the Medici family. Yeah, they make Ezio save him in the game.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So the Pazzi family are the bad guys?
Um, partly, from what I remembered, because again, in the game they did assassins versus the Templars, so who's on the side of who, and
Yeah.
but then we
Yeah.
also found out like the Pope at that time was, or the Cardinal who was trying to be the Pope, and he ends up getting it. The one they did the show on, the HBO show. Um, oh, why can't I think of their names? What's his name? The one who played Alfred in Ben Affleck's. What's that actor's name? Die Hard 3, the bad guy in Die Hard 3. The British guy.
All right. Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
like at the tip of my tongue. He plays the Pope. Yeah, he plays that Pope in on that TV series.
Okay.
This is driving me crazy. I don't remember the. It's a famous family too, because his kids were notorious for being evil. Yeah, he was a Spaniard. He was a Spanish Pope.
Okay. And what channel was this series on?
I think it was HBO.
Yeah, we'll have to find that out.
Yeah, forget the damn actor's name. I keep forgetting it for some reason.
Yeah, because I have no idea who you're referring to.
Yeah, I'll get there. Oh, Jeremy Irons. That's it.
Okay.
Jeremy Irons, and he was. I will find this, damn it.
Oh, hey Frankie, how's it going?
Hey. I hate getting older because I'm forgetting shit too.
That's okay. We'll have to remember to look that up.
Yeah. The Borgias. That's it.
Oh yes, I know what series you're talking about now.
Yes.
Yeah, I never watched that, but yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah, because like his daughter Lucrezia, I think her name was. Well, what? Yeah, evil. That whole family was evil.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the bad guys in that game. That I remember.
All right. And okay, but we don't know if the Patsy family was bad or not.
Like that, I don't know. They could have just been in proper history. They could have just been blamed for shit.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, that's true. Like a patsy.
yeah, that's basically yeah.
Yeah, maybe could be.
Right. Yeah, because
um,
they said there's a whole conspiracy that revolved around that.
that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, I'd like to look into that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, impressive how they did that too. Yeah, because like yeah, he's got good banter with him regarding all of that.
Yeah, yeah. I think they get into it more. I can't remember where, but I think there's a bigger.
Well,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he
because he visits him again.
yes, and that's when he gifts him that. Well, he's
Yes.
about to gift him
Yeah.
that horrific relief thing. With his
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Which
right.
that I don't remember if that part was in the movie or that piece. It could have been. It's been
I
a minute.
I
It
it
no, it had to have been because yeah,
yeah.
he went the same way.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I remember well watching this on Prime, and there's like that X-ray panel that kind of gives like a trivia and stuff about episodes,
Oh,
and
okay.
in this episode it says that the dialogue between uh, Hannibal
And
and
Patsy are
Patsy
the same.
is exact like word for word dialogue as in the movie Hannibal.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
So yeah, it's got that little like device thing that he brings. It's got to be there because they talk about it.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, because that
Ju-
was really good, and that's what I love about this. That they are incorporating everything.
yeah, I love that. I love that. I wish I had a like better memory of the movie Hannibal.
We probably should have watched those first.
That's what I'm thinking. Like we're kind of doing this backwards,
hmm
but
It's all right. When we watch them, we're going to be watching them in the right order anyway.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna be doing it in chronological order.
Well, for this story, it's yeah.
No, we can't have this conversation again.
We already did it.
It's been settled.
We know what we're doing. It's the only thing is if we're doing Manhunter or not.
I'm thinking no, because it's basically, I mean, what if we watch it and then we just kind of, you know, how we discussed kind of watching Hannibal Rising and then
Mhm.
kind of like working it in the like another like when we review Hannibal or
Yeah,
Sounds of the Lambs or Red Dragon or whatever,
right.
we can work the movie into that review at the same time.
Yeah,
Maybe we could do the same thing with Manhunter because isn't I've seen Manhunter.
yeah,
It isn't that like that's very much like Red Dragon, isn't it?
yeah. They based Manhunter on that first book on the
Okay,
yeah.
so when we review Red Dragon, we can talk about Manhunter too.
Okay, so that means so we are going to watch it, but we're not getting in depth with Manhunter. We're getting in depth with the Anthony Hopkins movies.
That's what I'm thinking. Make it
Okay,
easy.
all right,
Do the
all right.
main Hannibal
So
Lecter movies.
all right, so for the review, then it's simple, and it's going to
Hmm.
be the first one is going to be Red Dragon, second one's going to be Silence of the Lambs, third one's going to be Hannibal,
Yep,
because that's how it goes.
yep, yeah. That'll work. That'll be good.
Yeah, so we'll have his story and timeline all together.
Hmm. Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. Wish we had done that
Yeah.
ahead of the series, but we didn't. So
Yeah,
whatever.
that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you're like, oh, I just saw that's on. You want to review it? I'm like, yeah, I love that show. Let's do it.
That's exactly what happened. I remembered, like, I was thinking about Hannibal, and I remembered that you said that you liked it, and I was like, "Hey, let's do this."
Mm-hmm.
But
Very good. But yeah,
yeah,
that's no big deal. And again, they are kind of their own contained things anyway. Because like with this whole series is yes, it's taking pieces of all of it
mhm.
and kind of merging it all together. But it's also telling a really cohesive story. So
Yes,
I'm fine with that. And then how we're gonna watch those movies, it's gonna be the same deal. It's just gonna be like an alternate universe kind of version.
hmm Yep. And I know as we're reviewing it, we're going to be like, that's just like in the series. That's
Hmm.
just like in the
Yeah.
series. That's
Yeah,
going to be
we'll see
fun.
that. Yeah, we'll see that the series paid so much, tribute to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
it'll be fine.
Yep. It'll be good. All right. And so back to episode, wait,
5.
5? Yeah. Okay. So next thing we see is Patsy is looking at a wanted for homicide screen,
Hmm.
and so he has come across this bounty for Hannibal,
Yeah.
and and then yeah, and it even shows like he's going by the alias of Dr. Roman Fell.
Yeah.
Um, and then he goes outside and he gets on a payphone outside and he calls the number, and we hear the person on the other end like like saying, you should contact an attorney for this, and gives them an attorney's number and stuff, and it's someone in Geneva.
Hmm.
um so yeah, he gets pointed in that direction, and so yeah, so now he wants in on the bounty. I mean, because like, yeah, how much was the bounty again? 300 or
Oh, I don't remember the number.
it's a pretty good
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty good bounty.
Yeah, basically, yeah. If Potsy it brings him in, he's like, "I'm rich, bitch."
Yeah. Yep.
So, but yeah, and he wants he wants to make him suffer as well.
Yeah.
From it's like yeah, because he basically his whole career he was made a joke of, and
Mhm.
they threw him under the bus because the powers that be had to get the headlines.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, this would be like total vindication for the character uh,
Yep.
if you could bring him in.
Yep. Be great.
Yep.
Be good
And get him
all
his
around.
money so he can retire. So like I see like his
Mhm.
motivation is it's clearly displayed there and
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep. Revenge and money.
Yep.
All right. And so next we see Hannibal is talking to Bedelia, and he's telling her how he met Inspector Potsy, and that he's actually met him before in his youth,
Hmm.
and she asks if Potsy she's like, does Potsy know what you are? And Hannibal says that when he got close to Potsy today, like he um in the museum,
Hmm.
that he could tell that Potsy remembered him,
Yeah.
and we could see it on Potsy's face too.
Yeah. Didn't he say that he kind of remembered him as well?
Yeah, something like that.
He
Yeah.
kind of hints at it. He doesn't see it as clearly, but he does kind of reflect on that.
Yep. And we know Hannibal like doesn't forget. He doesn't forget faces and stuff.
Yeah, he's like an
And
elephant.
yeah, and also the smell thing. He can smell. He remembers what people smell like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of superhuman.
Mhm. Yeah. And then Bedelia, it says, he that well, he remarks how Patsy, basically talking about how like Patsy could have brought him in all this stuff, and Bedelia's like, but you're here, and Hannibal says, well, he's figuring out what to do, and they're talking about the bounty that's been placed on Hannibal.
Hmm.
So yeah, like he's kind of given Patsy time to either bring him in officially to the Questura or do the bounty thing.
Hmm.
Like that, he's just waiting to see which he
Yeah,
chooses.
yeah, it can kind of go either way. But the way
Yeah,
they logically break it down, they know what he's going to do.
yeah, because Hannibal says, well, um, Inspector Potts needs to decide what his life is worth,
Hmm.
and Bedelia goes, well, what's it worth to be known as the man who caught Hannibal Lecter? And Hannibal says for a policeman, credit it has a short half life, but so it would be better to sell.
Mm-hmm.
It would be better to sell him, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he does.
Yeah. So yeah, logic kind of.
Yep,
And that's another reason why he keeps her around.
I know, cause like, yeah, you can see how they have these. He like bounces ideas
Yeah,
off of
these
her.
intellectual kind of conversations that
Yeah,
when he doesn't necessarily need it, but when it's out loud with her, it does make more sense. Like it's kind of like just like that verifying his beliefs anyway.
yeah, because really, that's all she does is she just validates him all the time.
Yeah, validates. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, cause like he never like takes her advice, or I don't
No,
think he even ever asks her advice.
nope. He never asks her. He never thanks her.
Yeah, she's just there as like a so that he's not talking to himself.
Kinda, kinda. Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah,
he's keeping her almost like a pet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she
Well,
knows it.
Chios says later on, or maybe it's Bedelia that says like birds in a cage.
Oh yeah, that's what's if the Asian chick says.
Yeah, yeah, I thought to myself that's actually a really good analogy.
Yep.
Um,
It made perfect sense, especially to that moment in the story too.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's on 6, I believe.
yeah, yeah. Get a little ahead, but
We'll get there, folks.
yep. And then we are back on the train, and Will has a nightmare of in Chio, like a nightmare of Chio's death. She's like above him.
Yeah, like he wakes. He's there's droplets of blood falling on him on his
Yeah.
face, and he kind of like he gets startled and wakes up, and he looks up, and it looks like she's impaled on like a whole black ceiling with all like antlers, and her
Mm-hmm.
arm is reached towards her, almost like David in the God painting there.
Oh yeah.
I kind of got that vibe how they did it, but she's
Yeah,
completely lifeless. Yeah, and the blood's dripping down the hand, and the droplets are hitting him in the face.
that I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Yeah,
Let's
because later they bring it up too, a mention of like their narcissistic kind of thing of like what would God do kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when we get to it, yeah, you'll know the part. We probably have written down too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Again, everything is just it's there. They did such a great job with this
Yep.
and their storytelling and getting into the minds of these sick freaks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he wakes up, like he snaps out of that, and then like he looks below him and sees that she's not there. So he puts on his little pea coat, and he goes looking for her, and she's on the outside of the train in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they had done that better. That's the only thing that looked cheap in this episode. Like they're literally on like a sound stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, they didn't even shake the train. Like that thing would have been all over the place, especially in Italy and Europe. Like there ain't no perfectly smooth tracks. You shitting me?
That's a good point. Yeah, I actually didn't even think of that when I saw it.
Yeah, it's like there's literally in front of a green screen. It's
Yeah.
so someone's off camera just gently blowing so that their hair moves a little bit in the wind.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Oh man. Yeah, so they have a conversation about just like how, it's the nighttime and how they're people are different in the night than they are the days. Shit like that, and
Yeah.
um and uh he asks why she's searching for Hannibal, and she says, "Well, I'm actually not searching. I know exactly where he is. He's in Florence." And he's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And she says, "I told you there are means of influence other than violence," because she mentions that to him earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in their conversation.
Yeah.
Because she's like, they're almost the same. But the difference is yeah, it's that violent nature.
Hmm.
Because like Will was trying to compare himself to her,
Yep.
and she goes, "Yeah, we're almost the same, except yeah, you are filled with this violence.
Yeah.
Like she has some kind of balance, or she's like, I'm better than you."
And she thinks, and yeah, and then they kiss, or she kisses him or whatever, but then and she goes, but violence is what you understand, and then pushes him off the train, and he
Mhm.
flies backwards in slow motion
Yeah.
um onto the track, and this knocks him out for a minute.
Hmm.
And then as he's coming to, it's a stag waking him up. He imagines the stag, and as the stag starts walking down the tracks, and so Will gets up and starts following.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so we get to see the stag again, and then we see Patsy and Mason are they're doing like a Zoom meeting,
Hmm.
and Mason, thanks Patsy for reaching out and says, "Oh, right here, 3 million. That's what he's paying for
Okay.
Hannibal."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, but he has to be alive. He'll give him 100,000 in advance upon verified fingerprint. Like it has to be a new fingerprint that they verify.
Yeah.
Um, and Alana steps in, like goes on camera and says, "So you have no illusions as to what will happen to Dr. Lecter. You'll be selling him into torture and death." And I just love the matter of fact way that she says this.
Hmm. Yeah.
And she has like no emotion. She's like, "Okay, this is what we're doing."
Hmm.
And Patsy's like, "Yeah, I'm aware." And he's fine with that.
Yep. The
And
three of them are very content with what
yeah,
they're about to do.
yep, yep. It benefits all of them.
Yep.
And yeah, so then Mason says, "All right, you'll get the rest of the money when he's delivered alive." And um, and Patsy just asked that it not be in, whatever they do, not be in Florence.
Hmm.
And Mason's like, "Don't worry, I got you. It won't be." Um, and then Alana said, so that like meeting thing is over, and Alana says Hannibal's gonna kill him, and Mason is kind of like unfazed by that.
Yeah.
And then we go into now we're at the palazzo, and we see Hannibal eating an apple, and he's using his knife to
Hmm.
eat the apple. And um this is where Patsy brings him that face cage thing. I forget what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those torture.
Yeah. And he says this was supposedly won by Francesco de Pazzi when he was executed. And he says that he goes, my family's guilt cast in iron. um
Yeah. That was good.
yeah, yeah. And Hannibal looks at it, and oh, here it is. He says, Scold's Bridal. That's the
Okay.
name of it.
Oh wow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
That
that's
is
called.
interesting, and I liked, yeah, that's pretty much the muzzle that they put on Hannibal in all the movies and stuff.
I
That's
know.
the similar. Yeah, that was really cool. I like that.
Yep. Yeah. And he's like, "May I?" And he puts some gloves on to pick it up. And meanwhile, Patsy is he's eyeballing the knife, because we see that there's a fingerprint on it.
Hmm.
And yeah, he needs that. So Hannibal's he's looking at it, um and then he says that he's like, "I have a family heirloom for you as well." And he pulls out like this carving in wood, and says, "This is Francesco hanging outside the palazzo."
Francesco.
Francesco, yeah, what did I say?
Francesco.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
Sorry.
yeah. Francesco hanging outside the palazzo. And he says, "This particular illustration is bowels out, because some of them do bowels in.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah,
yeah, and he says, well, by all accounts, Francesco was led astray by 30 pieces of silver by the hand of the papal banker. So
yeah,
there's that plot.
yeah. I love how he's saying it to him like that, like because you could see it on Patsy's face as well.
Mhm.
That it's like, oh, you're on to me kind of thing, like because
Yep,
exactly what's happening right now.
yep, yeah. The way he's staring down
Hmm.
Patsy, yeah,
Yeah.
and
And Potsy just fixated on the knife because it's like, okay, I gotta get this to get the fingerprint. So he's just like trying to bullshit him essentially, not
mhm,
realizing what he's telling him, what he's saying.
yep. Yeah, and then Hannibal adds an interesting little tidbit. He says, well, it's kind of hard to see, but right here is where the Archbishop bit him. And then he describes like how he bit him and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And he says, on a related note, and then he walks to the table behind Potsy. Potsy goes to grab the knife
yeah. He
just
puts
as
like
he's,
a handkerchief, like to
yep,
go
with
around it, not to put his own fingerprints on.
right, yep. And then Hannibal says, I've given much thought to doing the same. And then he takes like his handkerchief and suffocates Potsy, like kind of like knocks him out with whatever's on his handkerchief.
Yeah,
Um, and then,
he put like a lock, like a choke lock on him, and then did that.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, and then then we see Jack having a coffee with Mrs. Patsy, and she's worried about her husband. Says he should have been home by now, and she asks, what has he done?
Hmm.
Jack doesn't answer, and then next we see Hannibal has Patsy like up in this area, and he wheels him towards like a open window thing. And he says, I haven't had a bite. I haven't had a bite all day.
Hmm.
I think your heart and kidneys would be great right now.
Yeah.
And he says, well, but the rest of your meat should hang for at least a week.
Yeah.
Um, oh my God. And then, yeah, he says, well, if you tell me what you know, it would be convenient for me to leave without my meal.
Hmm.
And as he's saying this, Hannibal is, preparing like this cord to hang Patsy with.
Yeah, he's like making like this kind of makeshift noose
Yeah.
out of an electrical cord.
Yep.
As,
And
as he as he has Potsy on that kind of trolley gurney thing. Um,
yeah.
yeah, which is yeah. And I think he slapped him in the face. Are you with me? Are you with me? Like, are you awake
Yeah.
yet?
Yeah.
Because
The
then
way he wakes him up. Yeah.
because he starts to question him while he's prepping all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Yeah. Very. And
Not for Potsy.
he says, when the police didn't come, it was clear to me that you sold me. And he says, was it Mason Verger that you sold me to? And Patsy nods his head yes. And
Mhm.
Hannibal says, thank you, because Hannibal actually already knew that it was Verger because
Yeah,
he had previously called this number and
but
all of that.
yeah, like the narcissist that he is, though,
Yeah.
he likes that confirmation.
Yep. Yep.
You see,
It's-
he almost like he's getting off on it.
yeah, it's like like for some reason he just needed Patsy to tell him the truth.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then and then he puts the cord around Patsy's neck and asks. He says, "Have you told anyone at the questura about me?" And Patsy shakes his head no, and was like, "Is that a nod no?" And Patsy shakes his head yes.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, Patsy's phone starts ringing, And Hannibal answers, and Alana starts she's like, "Hey, hello, Inspector Patsy.
Well,
My name is."
I like that though when he answered though, because he she didn't know, because he spoke in Italian. He goes pronto.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is great. So she just starts talking immediately.
yeah. She's like, "Hey, Inspector Patsy. My name is Alana, and this and that." Um, and then Hannibal says, "Hello, Alana. The inspector's occupied right now,"
Yeah,
and she's like, frozen in her tracks, and she asks if he's dead, and Hannibal says, "I'd love to chat, Alana, but I'm really busy right now. It's nice to hear your voice."
yeah,
And he hangs up on her,
yeah.
and then
She
he
knows
puts the
that.
phone back in Patsy's pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "So which do you think, balls in or balls out?" He says to Patsy. Like, this dude is too much. And then he
Yeah,
says, and then he did he just says out, I think, and he slashes his stomach with his knife.
yeah. Just
And
like hit the straight line, and then
yeah,
wheels him to the damn terrace window there, and just unleashes him. And as he goes in, he hangs like that. All of his bowels come out of his stomach into the street.
yeah, it was
Oh
nasty the way it like squelched on the
yeah.
ground below.
Oh my god, yeah. Because it's like yeah, just like his ancestor.
And yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and
Another
as he
another Patsy hung there,
yeah,
hanged.
and as he's looking out over the balcony there, he's looking down. You see someone had just walked up and sees the entrails on the floor, and you see him look up, and it's Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, that. Yeah, because they eyeball each other, and then right away you see, Jack goes darting into the building, and yeah, Hannibal like he kind of darts away from the window. He grabs his coat, and then like he stops himself, and he's acting calm again. Like he was like, in a rush to get out of there, and then he's just kind of, "Hello, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get my note about Bella?" He goes, "I am truly sorry about that, and like my condolences, kind of thing." And as he's kind of trying to have a conversation, just to see where the hell Jack is, you just hear like the music recorder go off.
Yeah.
Like Jack's just he started playing the I don't know the name of it.
It's a
So
waltz.
yeah, it's one of these waltz, one of these famous ones. So as that's playing, he still doesn't know where Jack is, and Jack pulled a Hannibal. He took his shoes off not to make noise,
Yeah, I loved that.
and he comes up behind them and just he hooks the arm and throws him into one of the glass displays,
Yeah.
and just he just eviscerates Hannibal. He is beating the shit out of him. It
It's
is
so
so
awesome.
satisfying. And
It is.
as Hannibal's still trying to talk to him, he's like rolling up his sleeves and not even giving him the time of day, and he's just pounding him, smashing him into things. He goes to crawl away, and he took one of these old. It looks like a giant fishing hook almost, like the
Yeah.
kind of that gaff.
Hmm.
But it's a three-pronged one, so it's like it doesn't it goes up and then curves around like a fishing hook, and
Yeah.
he gets it into the calf of Hannibal and drags him away
Oh,
uh, from his knife, and it's so glorious.
oh man, yeah.
What a fight scene.
That was such a awesome fight scene. It's so satisfying seeing Hannibal like just slithering on the floor trying to like
Yeah,
get away and stuff. It was like yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And the whole time you're like yeah, kill him. But it's funny because we know that's not what
yeah.
happens.
Right.
But it's like for some reason like you still want
Yeah,
to
we're rooting for Jack because we like Jack
yeah.
so much, and we know just how despicable and awful Hannibal is.
Mhm.
You know, it's like you don't
Yep.
want to be cheering on a cannibal. It's like, but even though it is his series and like the acting's great, the stories are awesome, but you want Jack to win this, and he pretty much does. Though he dominates the entire fight.
Yeah.
He grabs Hannibal's head and smashes it into his own knee, and he's just messing him up. He's got cuts and bruises everywhere, and Jack he looks pristine, like he just walked into the octagon.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, this is great. Because Hannibal says, well, how you feel when I'm gone? And Jack actually smiles and says, alive. And then
Yeah.
clocks him again. Like, he like hits him on the side or hits him in the head with the hook thingy.
Hmm.
And this propels Hannibal out the window. And unfortunately, though, he catches himself on Patsy's hanging body.
Yeah. He doesn't go
So
smashing to the floor. Yeah, he had just grabbed onto the fresh corpse of Fotsy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he breaks his fall and he ends up he makes it down to the ground and walks off and then that's where that episode ends. That's where episode 5 ends. And it's like, oh man, he got away again.
Yeah. But it just you just felt so much satisfaction for Jack.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, boy did he need that too, because like I think it elevated that whole moment in like the first couple of seasons there.
It really did because I mean, all the time Hannibal's always on top. He's always dominating every fight,
Hmm.
and it's like finally he got an ass kicking that he really needed.
Yep,
He really deserved it.
absolutely.
So yeah, that was so satisfying. And just the way the whole thing played out, like this is all happening while the waltz is playing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
beautiful.
yeah, it's great.
The whole scene's great. When it
Mhm.
was done, Trina and I both had to smoke a cigarette, and we don't smoke.
For real, for real.
Yeah, it was so great to see him do that, and it's like, yes, fine. And he had like satisfaction too, even when he got away. It's like, he was still like he still smiled. Like Jack was he was happy he was able to do that,
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah,
Yep.
now that piece of shit scurrying.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that he was able to even walk off the way that he was so beat to hell.
Yeah, yeah, he was limping. He's limping away.
Yes. And that's how season 6 opens as Hannibal's like limping
episode
home.
episode 6.
6, yeah. What season 3 episode 6. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it starts off. It is Hannibal. It's like a direct continuation. Hannibal's like limping home.
yeah.
Um
He walks over
yeah.
the same bridge where Jack dropped the ashes off there, and by
Yeah.
Arno River. Like, yeah, it's
Yep.
all everything is just again how the way that they did this. It's everything's so poetic and fitting.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So good.
And yeah, and we see like so it's kind of split. So we see Hannibal walking home, and we also see him at home in a bath as Bedelia is like tending to him and help like tending to his wounds, bathe him, stuff like that.
Hmm.
It like keeps going back and forth between Hannibal walking home and Bedelia fixing him up.
Yep.
It was good. It was interesting to see.
Yeah. Kind of surprising too, to be quite honest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like just I feel like there would be a lot more people and they'd be like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, yeah, but
But it also does make sense of how early that all happened. So like, I would
yeah,
imagine like this fight and everything would probably between 4 and 5 in the morning,
yeah, that's
kind of deal.
true.
Because it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
like the sun is just coming up.
yeah, true.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great. This whole thing is fantastic.
And then we see Jack is watching as the authorities and all of them carry Inspector Patsy's body away.
Yeah.
And then we see Will walk up to Jack,
Hmm.
and so finally, like we're on our way to a full reunion of everybody now.
Yeah.
and
And
then
Will sporting all them bruises from the train tracks.
yeah, he's limping. He's looking worse for wear here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're inside the palazzo talking, about how Patsy went outside the law to catch Hannibal, and if he didn't do that, he'd still be alive.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, and then Jack remarks, "Well, we're outside the law, and we're all alone here as well."
Mm-hmm.
And Will asks if he's informed the authorities yet that who they're looking for is actually Hannibal Lecter, and Jack says, he's like, no, I haven't informed him yet, because if when I do, it's going to be a free for all, and Hannibal will just slip away. And then he goes, "Are you going to slip away with him?" He asked that to Will,
Yeah.
and Will says, "Part of me is always going to want to." And Jack goes,
you need to cut that part of you out.
yes.
Yeah.
And then Will remarks that he's like, you had him. Why didn't you kill him? And Jack says, maybe I need you to. So I guess he wants Will to be the one to do it. I think that's actually would be more therapeutic for Will.
Yeah.
To be the one, but I don't know. Could it also ruin him as well? Could be both. Because he feels really close to Hannibal.
He does, but I think with him out of the picture, he could just finally like let go and stop thinking about all of it.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense, because the one thing that's kind of keeping him in this state is Hannibal.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, so yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, if you take him out, it's like confronting your fear kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's true. Like Hannibal has him.
He's got control over him.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of power tripping thing that he does, and it's part of that manipulation game. So if you take it out, then yeah, it shouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Hannibal does this to anyone that he doesn't kill right away. Like he's got Bedelia captive.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Will captive, even though they weren't like physically close. Like Will was in America and he was in Italy. He still got Will captive because of everything he put Will through.
Yeah.
He's got Jack captive because Jack witnessed all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he almost killed Jack as well.
Yep.
And he's got Chio captive because he knew, like Chio didn't want to kill this prisoner, so she basically became a prisoner as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he keeps everybody as his little playthings.
Yep. And the ones that he really doesn't need, like, he taunts them more and throws it in their face, like what he's doing to Alana. Like when he picked up the phone and everything, like, you really don't mean shit to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, it was funny for us as an audience, but it was also being like totally disrespectful on purpose, because she really never meant anything to him.
Yeah. True colors right there.
Yep.
No more. No need to keep the facade.
Yep. We've seen a lot of people like that in the streaming circles.
Oh my God, I know. Everywhere.
Yep. It's the same deal. So it's funny. It's when we're watching this, like, I definitely connected to a lot of things and how people, how they are. It's crazy how it really has turned into more of this kind of broken society of these people who are just so infatuated with themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's why the series is so good too, because like we're seeing all of that, like, again, real time.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it in entertainment, we've seen it in politics. It's like it's all right there. So having it in a show that was so well written and captures like all these great moments and stunning storytelling, like it's all very fitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so then we see Hannibal and Bedelia talking, and Hannibal is sitting in the window of like where they're staying, that their home,
Yep.
and he's sketching the city, and he says he wants to be able to draw it from memory because memories are all he's going to have of Florence, because he's not going to be returning there for a very long time, if ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he says Florence is where I became a man, um, and stuff like that, and he says I see my end in my beginning, and she says, well, all of our endings can be found in our beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
History repeats itself. And we see her as like they're talking, she's packing her bag, and he says, well, you packed lightly, and she says, well, actually I packed this for you because this is where I leave you, or more accurately, this is where you leave me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I imagined a different goodbye. And she's like, I know you intended to eat me, and I knew you'd take your time.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, it will be a shame not to savor you. And she says, I don't think I've marinated long enough for your tastes. And she asks him, like, what are you going to say about, my involvement in all this when the authorities come for you? And he says, I'll paint whatever version of events you want me to. And he says, I'll help you because you asked me to. And this is what he says to her. We find out earlier in the last season, I think it was, that's what he said to her when her patient attacked her. He's like, just ask me and I'll help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he repeats that, and she says, you may make a meal of me yet, Hannibal. And they kiss, and she says, but not today.
Yeah.
And
Like,
then
it almost reminds me of the scene too with what do you call it? In was it The Dark Knight? When Alfred and Batman are talking, and they go, because he's ready to give it up basically, and yeah, and he goes to Alfred. He's like, yeah, and what are you gonna? Or Alfred goes, yeah, what's gonna happen to me, Master Bruce? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna tell everyone it was all your fault. You know?
Yep.
So it's like the same type of vibe.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's sort of a playful banter, but yet there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, because it's like her behavior is like so strange, and she's still like negging him,
Mm-hmm.
during this kind of banter and shit too. It's
Yeah.
almost like she knows, like, yeah, he's not gonna do anything to me.
Yeah. The way that she plays with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's quite the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And then next thing we see Mason and his like manservant Cordell, and he's preparing a pig for him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's supposed to be analogous to him eating Hannibal
Yeah.
when he finally gets Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like feeding Mason little things and stuff, and
Yeah,
Mason
like,
isn't
yeah, he cut up the pig or part of it to kind of resemble fingers.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not enjoying this. He's like, oh, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And Cordell says, maybe we can Peking duck him. And so I learned a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, to have Peking duck, you have to torture the duck to prepare it. So they like inflate the like force air underneath the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that separates the skin from the from like the muscles and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it. Oh man, like that's horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal what they do. Because
Yeah,
it's not just like you're not just plucking the feathers off. You're separating the skin from the meat.
yeah, it's terrible. And
Mhm.
because he describes the process. Sounds absolutely horrifying. And
Mhm.
but Mason is imagining, all this happening to Hannibal, and he imagines Hannibal's head, and it shows as if Hannibal's head has already been prepared this way
Mhm.
on the table, and like that was cool
Yeah.
how they did that. Like that was good. The
Yeah.
practical effects on that were good.
Yeah. The visuals are so great. Yeah. They definitely put his head on what do you call it, like the plaster and all that shit because
Yeah.
they had some pretty cool stuff. They actually have a full body thing of him like laying down, like his whole body
Yes.
was done like the Peking duck.
Yeah. Yeah. His whole glazed body on the table, and
Yeah.
Mason like takes a taste of it.
Yeah, like he's fantasizing, like he's able to walk and everything, like he's
Yeah.
in his head, like yeah, he just walks over to the body and like, he slides his fingers across it and sucks on his fingers of the like the sweet and sour it's on it or whatever,
Yeah.
or however the hell the glaze that they put on it.
Yeah. Some kind of honey glaze
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
Roasted honey glaze. I don't know.
yeah.
But
And then the phone rings and you can see him in bed like he's like, oh, I'm having a great dream.
I know.
Hey, and then like, he's reaching over to his phone with his one good hand, and he goes to answer it, and yeah,
Yeah.
he's not so happy anymore.
I know. I know. Because the next thing we see, they're all gathered in the TV room. It's Alana, Mason, Margot, and Cordell, and they're watching the news report, and it's an Italian. It's from the Italian news, and it's
Mhm.
about Inspector Pazzi. And Mason says, "I feel like I just paid a lot of money for a dead Dago."
Yeah,
And uh, Alana asks, "What if they trace Patsy back to you?"
hmm
And Mason says, "Oh, we'll take care of that. Don't worry about that." And she's like, "Yeah, like you took care of Patsy."
hmm
And then Margot says, "You better buy another cop." And Alana goes, "A whole department."
yeah,
And interestingly, in this conversation, Alana doesn't mention her her little chat with Hannibal.
hmm
That
yeah,
was I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." She didn't even bring it up that she had
yeah.
called the phone.
Well, I like previously. I mean, she did call it like, hey, Patsy's not going to survive this. So
Yeah.
she was right. I mean,
Yep.
she got her confirmation, but yeah, is it necessary to tell the psycho?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I don't know.
I get it too because I was kind of questioning too. Like, yeah, she didn't confirm anything or verify. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then the
interesting.
other dynamic with Mason's sister that's going to come up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that gets couple of weird things happen.
hmm
So,
Weird.
weird. And so next we see Bedelia. She's retrieving a syringe kit that she keeps like hidden in the wall, and it's like a bunch of different vials, like, and she injects. She's like getting ready to inject herself. She's got like the
Yeah, she looks like a heroin addict.
yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
hmm
Like she's got the tourniquet on her arm and everything, and she's getting ready, and then
Yeah. She
and
she got she got the piece around her arm. She's yanking it with
yeah,
her teeth when she looks into the mirror and she sees a gun pointing at her, and she just like opens up her mouth and you see it snap back.
yeah, yeah, I like how they did that.
That was hilarious.
And yeah, she's like, and she doesn't jump or any, like
hmm Yeah, there's
she's
no other
not like, who
movement.
the hell are you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally, like, who's this Asian? Like, are you here for Hannibal?
yeah, she's like, oh, you must be one of Hannibal's patients. And she was like, no, not a patient. And she asked where he is, and she's like, well, forgive me for being forward, but since you just like walked into my house, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And Chio answers, I'm family.
Yep.
And Chio asks, so who are you? And Bedelia says, I'm his psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And Chio glances at Bedelia's arm.
Yeah.
Um, and Bedelia says, medicinal purposes.
Hmm.
And Chio says, oh, you're like his bird. I'm his bird too.
Yeah.
And I really love that analogy.
Oh, it was good. Yeah.
And yeah,
In,
because
in your little cage.
yeah, Ichio says he puts us in a cage to see what we'll do.
Hmm.
And Bedelia says, fly away or dash ourselves against the bars. And
Hmm.
Chio says, you haven't flown away. And Bedelia goes, you're flying right towards him.
Hmm.
And she's like, how does he inspire such devotion? And Chio's like, you're a psychiatrist. Like,
Yeah.
you tell me.
Yeah.
And Bedelia asks if were you there as she says it like this. She's like, were you there when the wild beast within him turned from the teen and entered the world? And Chio says, I met the beast and watched him grow.
Hmm.
And Chio says someone wants to kill him, and Bedelia says, oh, I'm sure there's more than one someone.
Yeah.
And she asks Chio what what she wants, and Chio says, I want to cage him. And Bedelia is like, I thought Will Graham was Hannibal's biggest mistake, but now I'm wondering if it's you. And she says, well, now if you'll excuse me, I need to take my medicine.
Yeah.
And we see her inject herself.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then later, like, just I don't know how much time passes, but she's still she's out of it because of whatever she injected herself with.
Hmm.
And there's a knock at the door, and you can tell she's intoxicated because they make the camera look blurry and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like,
like when they do that effect.
yeah, yeah,
She's stumbling towards the door, and as she opens it up, it's like we see these distorted faces of Jack and Will.
yeah, yeah. And
Great.
Will says, Mrs. Fell, I presume.
Yeah.
And Jack is so they're in there, and Jack's looking at the empty vial, and he's like holding it up, and Bedelia says, my husband is a doctor,
Hmm.
and he's been treating my condition. And Jack says, what condition is that, Mrs. Fell? And she says, I get confused. And Will says, oh, please get over yourself, whatever self that is,
Yeah.
Bedelia. And she says, my name is Lydia Fell. And she keeps like saying
Yeah.
that, like they keep telling her,
Yeah. Yeah. She wants to play the insane card there.
yes. Like she was like
Yeah. That
like
he had her all drugged up this whole time.
yeah. Yeah.
Because that's why there's like so many vials, and she was, I guess, slowly giving herself bits of this to make it look like it's going to be in her bloodstream, and it's like, come on, this is transparent, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and Will even says, you expect us to believe that you lost yourself in the darkness of Hannibal's mind, which I think is interesting coming from Will, because
From
that's
him, yeah.
because that's exactly what happened to him.
Right? I was waiting for Jack to be like, Negro, please.
I know. And then Jack holds his phone up, towards Lydia, towards Bedelia's face, and it's a missing person, and it says, it has her picture, and it says Dr. Bedelia DeMaria and all of that, and he's like, this is you, isn't it? And she's like, well, now I'm really confused.
Mm-hmm.
And Will leans in and says, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And this is interesting too, because when he was in the loony bin from all the things that Hannibal did to him, she went and visited him and said, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The parallels, like, this is such good writing.
Oh, it really is. These guys are geniuses.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jack says, come on, you're not confused, Bedelia. And she's like, that's not my name. And Will's like, you know exactly who you are and what you're doing, and you know how you're gonna wiggle out of it. And and he asks what all the vials are, and Jack he rifles off all the names, and he's like, "This is the same cocktail that Hannibal gave to Miriam Lass," and
Hmm.
he's like, "You," he says to Bedelia, "You've been freebasing your own alibi," and he's like, "I'm not even mad. I'm impressed."
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
And Will is like, "I'm just surprised that you're still alive. When the fog clears, you're gonna have to let us know how you manage that."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You say my husband murdered an investigator. Um, well, where are the police? Shouldn't they be questioning me?"
Hmm.
And Jack is like, "Oh, don't worry, they will."
Yeah.
And she's like, "They sure are taking their time. What could be the delay?" And Jack goes, they're being bought by the same people that bought Inspector Patsy."
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Will is out of sight, and
Yeah.
Jack is calling for him. And she says, I wonder who will, I wonder who will catch him first."
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that was an interesting. The whole thing was interesting.
It was. It was, yeah.
I
It was
loved that.
great. Her acting on this episode was some of my favorite.
Yeah, fantastic.
Super solid.
And then Margot is talking to Mason, and she's like, "I've made some friends in Italy," and Mason's like, "Well, you've worked so hard to give me what I want. It's only fair we discuss what you want. Come sit on Santa's lap."
Hmm.
Dude's such a creep.
Yep.
And she's like, you already know what I want. She wants the inheritance, and the only way to do that is to have a child.
Yep.
And he actually says the biggest regret of his life is taking her ability to
Yeah.
conceive.
Yep.
Yeah, and she says, well, she mentions adoption, and he's like, well, I don't want a Chinese baby. I want it to be a Virgin baby. He's like, we could raise it together as and all this stuff. And he's like, I'll even take parenting classes. And then he mentions that he probably still has viable sperm,
Hmm.
and asks if she's stumbled across any uteruses lately. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he says, I'm talking about a way to be a family again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very creepy.
So is he thinking about joining, like, does she still have ovaries, or was it just the uterus he took?
Didn't he say that he wanted? He was, oh, my sperm and your egg. Didn't he say
Yeah.
that?
I
Do
that
like a flipper baby?
Yeah. But I seem to, maybe I just put it in my mind, but I thought when he had her operator on that they took everything. But I guess not.
I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Well, and on this show too, they've done things where there's complete curveball.
Yeah,
Where it's like, oh,
true.
we killed off characters, and then like, oh no, they're not exactly dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's, I don't know. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he said that though, that about that, that she, taking her eggs. So if that's the case, that means they didn't take everything.
So he wants to have have it be his sperm and her egg and make a child.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And yes,
Very
so
Alabama of him.
yeah, I know. And
Oh shit. Or,
next,
Arkansas. That's more accurate.
yeah, it's weird. Yeah. And next scene takes us to the Uffizi Gallery, where Hannibal is sketching. It's interesting because he's sketching the Botticelli's Primavera painting,
Hmm.
but instead of a straight sketch, he's actually putting Will and Bedelia into the sketch.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and then we see Will is walking in, and as he's approaching, like he kind of gets close, and then Hannibal stops, and he knows someone's behind him. He has
Hmm.
that instinct,
Yep.
and then Will comes and sits next to him, and they. So the scene is funny because they're both all beat to, like their faces are scarred and everything,
Hmm.
they've wounded and everything, and they actually smile at each other,
Yep.
and yeah, like they're happy to see each other.
Yeah, they are.
And he says, oh my god. So Hannibal says, even if I saw you every day forever, Will, I would remember this time. And Will like appreciates that, and like it really does seem genuine that this makes Will happy.
Uh huh.
And he's like, it's strange seeing you here in front of me, you know, because all he had was these kind of cloudy pictures of of him and his memory and all that stuff. And
Yep.
he's like, before I saw you, I wanted to be clear of you and my understanding of you and all that stuff.
Hmm.
um and Hannibal says, where does the difference between the past and future come from? And Will says, for me, it's before you and after you.
Hmm.
So basically, Will's whole life is Hannibal.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know anything of his life until he met Hannibal, and he's intimating that after Hannibal, that's all he'll think about as well.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, showing how broken this guy is.
Yeah.
Because it kind of it is true. He doesn't have anyone anymore. Because like Alana was the one that was his anchor for a while
Mm-hmm.
until she started sleeping with him, and he's like, "Well, bitch, you're contaminated." Like the whole way that everything kind of went, like he is alone again. The only one he really has is Jack.
Yeah.
But that's not what he needs. He needed someone that was like how Alana was in season one.
Yeah.
And we can see what happened to his character. She's totally batshit crazy now too.
Yeah.
They were all destroyed by this guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Will says that like kind of where you end and I begin is a blur to me. And Hannibal says, isn't that how you found me? And Will says, what Will mentions how every crime of yours feels like one that I'm guilty of. Like, not even, he says, not just Abigail's murder, which he apparently feels responsible for Abigail's murder.
Hmm.
But he says even like every murder, like going back and going forward, he feels responsible for it all.
Yeah.
Um, and Hannibal says, freeing yourself of me and me freeing myself of you are one and the same. And Will's like, we're conjoined.
Hmm.
And he goes, I wonder if either one of us can survive separation.
Hmm.
And then it shows them leaving the gallery, like they're both limping off, and we see crosshairs on Hannibal,
Hmm.
and then we see Chio, up on the roof, and then she moves the crosshairs to Will, and we see Will take a knife out,
Hmm.
and so she fires a shot off at Will, gets him in the shoulder, and so she prevents Will from taking Hannibal out.
Yep.
Um, and then so we cut from that, and we go to uh, Margot and Alana having sex.
Hmm.
I did not see that coming.
Me neither. It was very strange.
It
Don't
was,
get me wrong. I was fine with it, but it was very bizarre for the character.
yeah, I was like, this came out of nowhere. There was no lead up to it.
Mhm.
There was no hints that they were
Yeah.
that
The
it
the
just
only
came
thing
out
that
of.
Well, the only thing that makes sense is because like Alana's almost always around now,
Yeah,
and it's like okay, well then if she's together with Margot, I guess
yeah.
it would make sense why she's there, but at the same time, it's like, well, what the hell is she doing there? Is that going to be the viable uterus, the one that's attached to a girl with a bad spine?
That's what I'm thinking of.
You know,
That's what I'm thinking. But I just want all the men to know, any men that are watching, that this is not how it works. Like, just because women are together
mhm.
doesn't mean they're going to become lesbians.
Oh, I wasn't saying it like that.
No, I know. But it's like, it's just funny
Hold on,
because
dear penthouse letters. No. But
it's
it's very very strange because like Margot shouldn't even because but the way that they left off in the other season too, it's as if like she's getting revenge on her brother,
yeah,
and now she's kind of playing the patsy with them, like she's still there, like being manipulated by him, kind of. Like there's
yeah,
more respect now, but it's only because he's like confined to a fucking chair, but he still has power.
yeah, exactly.
So it's weird. It's kind of yeah, that whole kind of situation is bizarre how they're doing that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, why do you have to try to crush my dreams like that? Okay.
um and
Shit.
so yeah, and this whole scene too is like like it looks psychedelic, like a kaleidoscope type thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, kaleidoscope. That's because
Yeah,
they're merging. It makes it look like it's just Margot, like she's looking in a mirror or something and like tripping, and then
yeah.
as like because like you see like one side of her face, and then it mirrored it, and then like you see her
Mhm.
arms kind of mirrored it, and then as kind of it keeps doing shit like that, then you see like Alana's face comes into the picture, and it's like and then they start kissing. It's like wait a minute, and like then they pull back and it's like they're kneeling on a bed towards one another, and I'm like again. This breaks the story because we know how bad her back is and she's walking with a cane. She'd be laying down with her legs on the other one's shoulders. Like, come on.
Oh man, yeah,
They got it all wrong.
I don't know how scissoring would work with a bad back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I'd
well,
never tried it.
that's why I said one would have the other one's legs on the shoulders. Like,
But you still have to kind of twist a little because of like just anatomy being what it is. Like,
I
okay,
meant Margot's head would be in the other one's lap.
okay, so anyway, yeah. So okay, so that they get done with that, and I don't
If
know.
Keely's watching this on a replay, he's like, I'm not done.
And
Oh shit.
so like they get done, and I don't know, like I just feel like there was no, like, that
It
wasn't
was weird.
sexy to me.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was weird. The whole thing was just strange.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah,
even like when they're Alana's helping her dress, like putting her like part of the dress like around and then tying like the little bow on or whatever. It feels cold and weird. It doesn't feel like like yeah they're a couple. No, it feels almost like transactional.
yes, good word for it. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very weird. Almost like how she treated Will when she got pregnant by him.
true. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, okay, so it makes sense that Margot would be attracted to Alana. We know Margot is a lesbian, but Alana's not.
Wait, where did we know that she was a lesbian? When did they say
Oh,
that?
she mentioned it. She said that she's only into women because when she sleeps with Will, Will's like, I don't think I have the parts that you prefer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So it
Forgot
makes
that.
sense that Margot would be attracted to Alana, but
Hmm.
Alana returning that, she never gave that vibe that she was.
Right. But we
Yeah,
know how broken she is now anyway, so
that is true.
because
That
who is gonna go near, especially in like the circles that she ran in after everyone knows that like she was Hannibal's plaything,
yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
it's she's like tainted,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
yeah, that's true. That is.
But again, like how this whole all played out, it was strange. Yeah, like you were saying, kind of transactional type of vibe to it. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't any love or any passion, or yeah, it was a little bit. You could see some hotness going on there, but it's only because both of them are good looking.
Yeah.
You didn't feel any connection whatsoever with them in those scenes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really weird. I'm curious to see what the hell they're doing and if that is going to be the candidate for the Verger Flipper kid.
Yeah. Yeah, because if Alana is able to heal enough so that she can carry a child, I mean, even if she's bedridden,
Yeah,
I could see it. I don't know.
which it
Maybe.
it, it does. It brings up another point too, because I don't believe there was even a mention of a Verger sister in the films, and I know there's no Alana in them either. So both of those
Oh,
characters are kind of unique to this show. I don't know if they're in the book. That I don't know. I never read the books. But
okay.
but from what I understand, I don't believe that. I don't think either one of them were in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So, yeah, this is purely for the series then.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Hmm. All right. But yeah, as they're like getting, dressed and everything, she Margot says that well, Margot asks Alana, "Do you have any experience harvesting sperm?"
Hmm.
So, I wonder, yeah, she's going to bring
She's
yeah.
gonna try to take. She wants her brother's seed and then off
Mm,
him probably,
yeah.
so that she gets everything, and then yeah, put it into Alana, or she's just gonna use Alana to get what she needs, and then turn her back on both of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it seems
yeah.
like Margot's the only one who's got like the cards are all in her favor at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, because I honestly I don't remember any of their dynamic.
No, I don't remember any of
Yeah,
the season at all.
yeah. A lot of the seasons it feels so brand new.
Yeah.
I know like certain things like it stands out. I kind of remember, but no, not everything. It's very it's interesting,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
good storytelling though, regardless.
Yeah. All right, and then we see a new inspector talking to Bedelia. His name is Inspector Lupano,
Hmm.
and yeah, he's talking to Bedelia and Jack, and he's saying, that they they can't locate Dr. Fell, and it says that the public has actually already decided that Il Mostro was killed. I'm sorry, that Il Mostro has killed Inspector Pazzi.
Hmm.
And yeah, he said a 20-year debt finally paid, and Jack is there, and he says, "Well, the Italian public is right." And Inspector Lupano says Il Mostro died in prison,
Hmm.
um, and Lupano mentions how Dr. Fell was being investigated by Pazzi for the disappearance of the original curator and Professor Sagliato. And Bedelia says, "My husband knew Sagliato. We've been to his home many times." And Jack is actually surprised that she says this.
Hmm.
And Lupano says, "We believe your husband is responsible for their disappearances and for the murder of Inspector Pazzi." And then we see Bedelia, she's like holding her mouth, like, "I can't believe I said that."
Hmm.
And Jack tells Lupano, he says, "Check the VICAP database at Quantico. You'll find uh, you'll find Dr. Fell on the most wanted page, but he'll be under the name of Hannibal Lecter,
Yeah.
and the fingerprints you pull from that cord that was around his neck is also going to match
Hmm.
Hannibal as well." And Lupano's like, "If you knew Dr. Fell was Hannibal, why didn't you bring this to the Questura?"
Hmm.
And Jack mentions that Hannibal has a bounty, and Patsy knew about it and tried to sell him. And he says, "For that kind of money, can you really blame him?"
Hmm.
He's like, "I can't blame him."
Right.
and then this seems to irritate Lupano, and he's like, okay, so we're done with questioning you and all that stuff, and since you're not here on official business, that'll be all. And Jack, gets up to leave, and Bedelia gets up to leave as well, and Lupano's like, oh, not you, Mrs. Fell. You stay
Mm-hmm.
right where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we see, so where we left off with Hannibal and Will is Will had been shot, his arms shot by Chio.
Yep.
So he brings Will back to their home or wherever, something like that. And
Yeah, he's got a lot of residences all over the place.
yeah, and so he's helping him, like, and he's like, Chio's always been very protective of me, and and he's like, he's taking Will's, like, coat off and whatnot. He's gonna be helping him with a bullet, and he asks who killed her prisoner, and Will says she did, and Hannibal is pleased by this, and he's like, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the gunshot wound on Will, and it just, like, as Hannibal is about to extract it, he hands Will back his knife and says, "You dropped your forgiveness, Will."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "You forgive how God forgives." And they have, yeah. What do they say about God's forgiveness?
Yeah, it was something very specific because it's something
Yeah,
that kind of, yeah, we mentioned like 2 hours ago in the beginning of them, almost like that they see themselves as like their God kind of.
yeah.
It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Um,
Narcissistic.
narcissistic would be definitely the term, but you know, being like anti-God essentially because they think that they are. What's the word for it? Anyway, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. The thing is, it's like, yeah, they're showing like how shitty they truly are. That they think that they're above the Lord basically, and their decisions are what's more crucial than what they're doing. Like, like God doesn't determine their fate; they do, kind of thing. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah. And Hannibal asks, "Well, would you have done it quickly, or would you have stopped to gloat?"
Hmm.
And Will goes, "Does God gloat?"
Hmm.
And Hannibal says, "Often."
Hmm.
And we've seen those kind of sentiments from Hannibal before, like,
Yeah.
um, when he's talking about God, he's talking to himself. He's talking about himself.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's your true sociopath, psychopath, narcissist right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, he's not making a video of himself in a car, but you could definitely tell.
And then next we see Hannibal, um, like, does something to get the bullet, and Will drops the knife, and I think he had to, like, stick his knife in it and, like, get the bullet out that way, because yeah, the bullet was lodged in.
Yeah.
um and he's like, he kind of, like, lies him back a little bit, and he's like, give that a moment, and we see Will kind of passing out, and he sees, kind of like, he sees Hannibal preparing dinner, and it's sort of like a dream. I guess it's a dream type state,
Hmm.
because we see Hannibal as that stag man, and the visuals of all this are absolutely
Yeah.
off the hook.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like they're back in a version of his old apartment.
Mm. Yep,
The dining room table, that kind of
yep,
banquet feast thing.
yep. I agree.
Which is,
And
again, it's cool how they did it, but yeah, they do segue back into the actual moment, and you could see that he's like whatever Hannibal gave him, like he's still tripping on
mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
he's out of it, and they're recreating the scene from the Hannibal film at this dinner table.
Yeah. Yes, and this was done well.
Yeah.
So okay, so Will asks what's for dinner, and Hannibal says, "Never ask; it spoils the surprise."
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Will at the table, and Hannibal comes in, like he brings this bowl thing out, and then he starts strapping Will to the chair he's in.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's never good.
yeah, that's definitely a bad thing.
Yeah.
And Will looks over at Hannibal, and as he's looking at Hannibal, he imagines himself as like his face on Hannibal.
Yep.
And Hannibal says, I'm sorry to believe in Italy, and he starts to spoon feed Will. And he says, like, there are a bunch of things that I would have liked to have done, like he like to read and maybe compose something. And he's like, I would have loved to show you Florence. Um, and Will says, this soup doesn't taste very good. And Hannibal goes, it's a parsley and thyme infusion, more for my taste than yours.
Mm-hmm.
And Will looks
Yeah.
at
Right there, he just told him, yeah, I'm forcing you to have this so you taste better when I eat you.
yep. And Will looks at the end of the table, and we see another place, and he says, "Are we expecting company?" And as he says that, it cuts to Jack coming in the building and getting into an elevator,
Mm-hmm.
heading up to, their floor. And Chio follows Jack in and gets on that elevator with him. And
She notices the floor that's already pressed,
yeah,
which is 7.
yep, she noticed. Yep, yeah, and so they're riding the elevator up together, and Jack glances over at her case, and he's FBI. He knows what's in that case, and she also glances over at where his um, sidearm would be under his coat, and so yeah, they both know what's up, and so they get up to the floor, and she gets off, and Jack, gets off the elevator, and he's kind of behind her. She stops, and she's like, "Oh, wrong floor," and then so she's gone. Jack goes in, and he's got his gun drawn, and goes, and as he goes in, he sees Hannibal sitting there. He goes up to Will, and Will says, "He's under the table, Jack." And suddenly Hannibal slices Jack's Achilles tendon,
Mm.
bringing him down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that was awful to see.
oh. And then it cuts to Inspector Lupano talking to Bedelia, and he's like, "Your husband left you behind," and she's like, "I had no reason to run. I did nothing wrong." And he shows her the actual Dr. Roman Fell and the actual Lydia Fell.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "No, I'm Lydia Fell." And she's like, Did you murder Lydia with your husband, or did you just watch?"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he knows what's up.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I am Lydia Fell," and she's keeping up this act.
Yeah.
And
And I like how he really doesn't even give a shit about her whatsoever.
Yes,
And what he says, because he's basically he's the police officer that got bought as well from the Vergers.
Yep.
He's just like, he just wants to know where the hell Hannibal is.
Yeah, because he leans in and he puts his hand on hers, and he says, "Look, I don't even care who you are. Like you need to understand." And he's like, "I don't care if you're in your right mind or not." And she says, "What I understand right now is, in this moment, you don't work for the Questura." And he's like, "And that's a good thing to understand."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, I don't want to seem uncooperative." And he's like, "It's up to you how you're seen." And he's like, "You could be rescued by the brave Questorado, or however you say that, or apprehended." And she says, "I never considered myself in need of rescuing until now." And acting like the damsel in distress.
Yep.
And he asks if he says, "Is your husband still in the city?" and she's like, my husband was supposed to be meeting with someone, and it required
Total privacy.
yeah, total privacy. So they'll be somewhere where nobody's supposed to be.
Hmm.
Um, and then it cuts to Jack is now also sitting at the dinner table, and he's got like there's an IV connected to him, like next to him, hanging there,
Hmm.
and Hannibal, like Hannibal has sedated him, and Jack remarks that this was how our last dinner was supposed to be, just the three of us, and Will says the menu was all wrong, and Hannibal says yes it was, and Hannibal brings a box with this bone saw thing in it,
Hmm.
and says Jack was the first to suggest getting inside your head. Now we have the opportunity to literally chew what we've only chewed figuratively. And
Hmm.
then he starts sawing his head, and we see the the blood like flying in slow motion in the air, and I love how they do that.
Oh, it was amazing. So
It's
yeah, we see
yeah.
Jack screaming,
No,
"No!"
stop,
And
stop.
yeah, don't stop. We see blood pouring down. Like the way that they did the camera angle, it was like eyebrows down is what we could see of Will's face, but you
Yep.
could see the ton of blood pouring down the side of the face of Will, and then we see like a shot of Hannibal, and you see like the spritzing of blood everywhere,
Hmm.
and then you could see the full image of Hannibal bone using the bone saw cutting across the forehead of Will. Like he started like near the temple, and he's probably about maybe 3 to 4 inches
Yep.
across, and we see a full image of clear like that, and it turns red, and as it pans back, it's a reflection from a drop of blood that's flying in the air. It is beautiful how they did
Yeah.
that. It's
Yep.
such a dark scene, but it looks so great how all that directing was. It's pretty impressive.
Yep. Looks absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
The visuals in this season have been top notch.
they really have.
Um, yeah. So then next we see, like we see like a road, and there are like pine trees on each side, and they have snow on them. And then next we see is um Will hanging upside down, and there are like pigs hanging as well. And then we see that Hannibal is also next to him hanging upside down, and Mason Verger wheels up and says, "Gentlemen, welcome to Muskrat Farm."
Yep.
And that's how that episode ends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
going yeah, right into the Hannibal movie.
yes, yes, like man, those were great. Those were great episodes.
Oh, they were fantastic. Both cliffhangers were incredible.
Yeah.
So solid.
Yeah, I love the way they're stitching this story together.
Yeah, it is so good, brilliant as always. Yeah, just yeah, I really wanted to see the next one.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So we're just about halfway through.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I can't believe that.
yeah. It's wild. It's 13 of them, right?
Yep,
Wow.
yep. The series finale, we're doing just that by itself because we're
Mhm.
gonna. I know we'll have a lot to talk about after.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because
it's.
yeah, we all wanted more of this anyway. So
Hmm.
it's, excellent stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. It's like it's such a beautiful looking show.
Yeah, for the subject matter, how messed up it is, but it's like you can tell, like, big fans of like true crime stuff and all that type
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's crazy. By the way, that's another great series. Which is the one that Fincher did. Mind. Fuck, what was that? Mind something.
Mindhunter?
Mindhunter. Yeah,
Yes, I
that's
love
another.
that.
Oh my god, I'm so disappointed we didn't get another season.
I know. I know. I loved that show. That's still on Netflix.
Yeah, but it's just what, because the director writer is such a perfectionist. Is that why they had the problem?
I'm actually not sure what happened.
What did we get? We had 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Netflix canceled the third one.
Yeah, we needed a third
Yeah.
season.
They just said, yeah, Mindhunter can be explained simply as lack of return on investment.
Hmm. That sucks. Because
Yeah,
that
it
was
does
an
suck.
awesome show.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Fincher, he officially confirmed 2 years ago, yeah, that there will be no season 3.
Mm.
That sucks because, like, yeah, they set up a whole thing too. Well, I guess it was going to be the BTK killer
Yeah.
was going to be the big one in it or whatever. But yeah, that's a damn shame because like everyone that was involved in that and like the other serial killers that they like the makeups that they recreated.
Oh, yeah. I think his name is Klemper or Kemper, something like
Kemper,
that.
I think it was Kemper. Yeah.
It looks exactly, not exactly, but very, very close
Oh,
to the actual.
very much so. Yeah, that actor was in a couple of other TV series and stuff too, and yeah, that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original one. I mean, it's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah.
I just say maybe the guy in the TV show was fatter in the face, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, there was one scary one. Yeah, very scary individual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was that was so interesting though.
Yeah, the whole way they did it, and I love it was the younger guy and the older one. The older one, that actor is really great, and it's a shame because it's like every time he's about to get a big break, like everything kind of like shits the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is that actor's name?
Like Holton something. Or,
He's really good.
yeah, Hulk McCallany.
Yeah, both of those guys actually were awesome in that.
Yeah, they really were. Because that guy Holt, he had his own TV series as well. He was a boxer.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that show was great, and it's another one where it was called Lights Out,
Okay, never
and
heard of it.
it was almost a little bit like a Rocky kind of a story, but
Hmm.
like he wanted to keep fighting, and it was like it came out in 2011. Um, he wanted to keep boxing and stuff, and they go like he was getting too many, like he was getting these concussions, and it was really destroying him. But yet he was trying to keep it a secret from everyone.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it was good how they did it, but it's like it's a shame. It's like that one just one season, that was it.
yeah.
But
What's up, Tommy?
hey, Tommy, what's up, brother? But yeah,
Hope
yeah,
you're doing well tonight.
yeah, just finishing these 2 episodes. It's like so damn good.
Yeah,
It's just you want to dive into the next one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the way they're stitched together.
Yeah, it was solid.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about the episodes?
Um, Looking forward to 7 and 8.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, what they have here was excellent, and again, seeing Italy and everything they did here, because like, again, I forgot how much of this they actually like. We have like shots of Florence. We have a lot of like European stuff going on here, so they spent a good amount of money. This wasn't all like blue screen and green screen. This was,
Just that train.
yeah, just the train, which that was the
Yeah.
only thing that looked out of 3 seasons. That's the only thing that looked bad.
That's nothing. Like
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine. If that's the worst, we're looking good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
I
yeah.
wonder if that's why, because like the budget it had to be pretty damn high if that was the reason, one of the reasons why they decided just to clip the show.
Yeah, could be.
You know.
Tommy has a question for you.
I can't see his question. It's not popping up for me. You son of a bitch.
Bologna. Oh man. I don't know what I don't know what's worse, that or the pigeon Italian. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, this was awesome, and yeah.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Again, it's the takeaway. Like one of my favorite scene had to be that last scene on 5. Jack beating the ever living shit out of Hannibal was just glorious to see.
Yeah, that's good. I think that might be my favorite moment of the entire series so far.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Definitely.
You know, we had some pretty amazing stuff that happened, but yeah, that so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe second would be the silo when Hannibal pops his head through the hole and the serial killer spraying the bodies and everything.
Hey, I'm
That
a
whole
big
thing.
fan of your work.
Yep. Like I don't know, something about that scene it cracked me up and still makes me laugh.
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, so we'll be doing this we're doing 7 and 8 next Wednesday at same time, 8 p.m. Eastern here. And yeah, looking forward to it. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, let everybody know what you've got going on.
Yeah, I just finished another page on City of Venus 2. So again, like I said, I'm down to single digits on the number of pages I'll be doing. Here's actually here's a quick sneak peek at one of the panels in a full page. So yeah, we got some action happening here.
Looking good.
Yeah, we got a big missile. It's coming down. But yeah,
Wow,
like I
you're
said,
making good progress.
yeah, I'm putting a ton of work into this, so I want to make sure everyone's going to be thoroughly entertained on this one. Yeah, there's a lot going on with the story itself, but yeah, I want to keep the surprises and things like that as well. I mean, there's more I want to show, but I probably shouldn't. We'll hold off for now, but yeah, at least there's a sneak peek of some stuff going down. But yeah, I got a lot of elements happening in this book, especially these last bunch of pages. Awesome scenes, you know, full new shots of characters and new characters and things as well. And there's plenty happening, but it's going to be enough to sink your teeth into and really enjoy. At least I hope so. But at the very least, like, you know, visuals are going to be off the chain as always with my stuff. And yeah, I've never had any complaints with the story either. People really love the work that I've been doing. So I thank everyone for the support. And if you want to continue to support me, make sure to click on the links and everything, or go to vinnyart.com. It'll take you to the at least one of the campaigns where you can buy 2 books. We have the pirate book there. We have Through the Woods, the ghost story, the hardcover. Yeah, there's links from there to go to the art campaign as well, or just go to Vinny Art on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. All my links are right there on the top. So yeah, and yeah, we're doing a toy stream tomorrow on Tommy's channel. Got some stuff to talk about and show and all that great stuff, and we'll probably bring up some of the Switch 2 again, I think, and maybe some of the tariff situation, because there's some pretty funny things going on there, good things as well. So yeah, and I definitely will be ripping into some of these companies who are trying to bend over the fans, because there is really no need for them to be doing this, and it is a lot of bullshit involved. So they're trying to do price hikes and blaming it on terrorists, and that's all bullshit. So yeah, it'll be good. And then Friday, of course, we do have the Friday Underground stream. We'll probably hit even more of that stuff. And then Saturday we're going to be over hanging out with Slasher on Saturday. I think we're doing a Jackie Chan, the Drunken Master movies. And then Sunday, are we? I think we're on the last two now of Dexter season 1.
Yeah, yeah. I
Sunday.
think what are we going to be doing? 11 and 12.
Yeah, it should be 11 and 12. So yeah. We got more info on the ice truck killer and more stuff going on there. Yeah, it's not biscotti, it's biscotti. Oh shit. But yeah, it's good times. So yeah, tune in all week. We got a ton of stuff going on, folks.
Yes. And do you? Okay, yeah. So Vineyard. Wait, what was it? Vineyard.com to see all your stuff.
Yeah, it'll take them to the Kraken campaign where they can at least get 2 books over there, or just go to at Vinny Art over on X, and yeah, all my links are right on the pinned post.
All right, awesome. All right. Okay. All right.
Is
so
Frankie and Tommy fighting in the chat?
No. We're just talking nonsense. I'm
No, I know what the.
I'm sounding out how to say
Bis goat e.
Okay. All right. This is awesome. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It's awesome to see you guys. It really is. And Vinny, as always, thank you for joining me on these ones. And
well, thank you for inviting me to the to your dinner table.
I like that. Yes, that's awesome. And also anybody catching this on the replay, thank you as well. You all mean a lot to us, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right,
especially you in the back over there, little Luigi.
All right, and you
Mario,
guys,
Mario.
Everybody have a great night and a good week, and we will talk to you later.
Yeah, bon appetit. Manja.
Yeah, you said it.